I'm Sophia Chen, 35, and my life is a testament to turning heartbreak into triumph. At 7, my biological parents abandoned me for the unforgivable sin of being born a girl, a betrayal that could have defined me. 28 years later, my adoptive father, Robert, left me his $32 million fortune, a gift that lured my biological father, Richard, back with greedy hands and hollow apologies. This is the story of how I transformed rejection into resilience, building a legacy of love and purpose. If you've ever had to redefine what family means or rise above pain, this one's for you. Drop a comment with where you're reading from, and let's connect over the strength of chosen family. Hit subscribe if you believe in second chances. I grew up in a modest split-level home in a quiet Seattle suburb where kids played tag in cul-de-sacs and neighbors swapped casseroles. From the outside, we were the perfect American family. My biological father, Richard Lee, was a logistics manager, a man of rigid traditions with a smile as rare as a clear Seattle day. My mother, Ellen, a part-time librarian, was soft-spoken, always smoothing Richard's sharp edges. My brothers, David, 12 years older, and Michael, 8 years older, filled out the family portrait. Early memories shimmer with warmth. Roasting marshmallows on camping trips, Monopoly nights by the fireplace, Mom's gentle hands teaching me to braid. But beneath it, I was already less. Richard, rooted in a traditional Chinese-American family, saw sons as the legacy, daughters as temporary guests destined for another man's home. By 5, I felt the difference. David's debate wins earned booming cheers. Michael's soccer goals meant pizza parties. My perfect spelling tests? A quick, good Sophia, before talk shifted to my brothers. I chased Richard's approval, acing math, joining chess club, asking for a football instead of a doll at 6. Nothing worked. Mom tried to compensate, teaching me to cook dumplings or sew. "These make you special," she'd say, her eyes apologetic, preparing me for a world where my value was tied to domesticity. My 7th birthday laid it bare. David got a gaming console for his. Michael, a dirt bike and a backyard bash. Mine? A store-bought cake, a few gifts from Mom and Michael, and a $10 bookstore card from Richard, who was stuck at work. Later, I overheard him on the phone. "Sophia's birthday? Kept it simple. No need to fuss for a girl." In bed, clutching that card, I sobbed, realizing my gender made me lesser. A disappointment from the moment the doctor said, "It's a girl." I doubled down, bringing home perfect report cards, learning baseball stats to join Richard's conversations. His nods were fleeting, his focus always on my brothers. The ground shifted just before my 8th birthday. One rainy evening, Mom called a family meeting. David was at college, but Michael, Richard, and I sat as she announced, her voice shaky. "We're expecting another baby." Richard's face lit up like I'd never seen. "A boy," he declared, hugging her tightly. "I can feel it." Mom's smile was forced, her eyes avoiding mine. The house became a shrine to the unborn son. Richard painted the spare room blue, bought tiny Mariners jerseys, and talked endlessly of his boy. "He'll be a CEO, maybe a pitcher," he'd say at dinner. Relatives chimed in. "Another Lee boy to carry the name." I shrank smaller, my voice quieter, my presence dimmer. I offered to help with the baby, hoping to belong. "I can rock him to sleep," I said, folding blue bibs. Richard smirked. "Girls are good for that stuff." My role was clear. Support, not star. When Nathan was born, Richard's joy was electric. He threw a hospital party, handed out cigars, and posted photos captioned, "My legacy grows." I faded, fetching diapers, warming bottles, trying to prove my worth. My science fair win went unnoticed. Nathan's first smile was family news. Overheard late-night talks revealed the truth. 4 kids is too much, Richard said. David's tuition, Michael's sports, Nathan's future. It's a strain. Mom's voice trembled. "What do you mean?" Richard's reply was cold. "Sophia's a girl. She'll marry out. We're wasting resources on someone else's future." At 7.5, those words burned. Useless. A burden, disposable. Weeks later, I woke to them packing my clothes. "We need to talk," Richard said, his tone formal. "We're struggling, Sophia. Another family can give you more, better schools, more attention." It was a lie. Their business was stable. Nathan's nursery was decked out with high-end gear. Mom's eyes were wet, but she stayed silent. "I don't need much," I begged. "I'll share with Nathan. I'll be good." Richard's face was stone. "This is best for everyone." The next morning, they drove me to an adoption agency, my life in one battered suitcase. Richard shook the social worker's hand. Mom hugged me briefly, whispering, "I'm sorry." They drove off without a glance. I stood in the agency's cold lobby, an 8-year-old discarded for being a girl. The next 2 years were a blur of foster homes. The first was chaotic, 7 kids crammed in, parents too stretched to care. The second couple wanted a baby, not a problematic 8-year-old. The third saw me as a paycheck, their affection as sterile as the agency's walls. I buried myself in books and schoolwork, my only constants. Friends were risks. Each move meant a new school, new faces. My social worker, Ms. Torres, saw my silence. "You can trust again, Sophia," she said. I didn't believe her. Trust had cost me everything. Then came Robert Thompson, a 62-year-old widower and retired engineer. His craftsman home in Olympia was warm. Hardwood floors, a rose-filled garden, shelves overflowing with books. He greeted me in a worn sweater, gray eyes kind. "Sophia, I hear you love to draw," he said, crouching despite creaky knees. "Want to see my workshop?" Instead of rules, he showed me his tools, a vegetable patch, and a bare room. "If you stay, it's yours to make your own," he said. I moved in, wary. My suitcase, my only anchor, braced for rejection. Robert didn't push. He cooked hearty dinners, asked about my day, and listened. He left sketch pads on my desk, noticing my doodles. One night, after a nightmare of my parents' car vanishing, I woke screaming. Robert knocked softly, bringing chamomile tea. "Bad dreams are rough," he said, sitting by my bed. "I had them after my wife passed." He stayed in the hall all night, a quiet sentinel. That cracked my defenses. He attended my art fairs, helped with algebra, and shared his passion for engineering, driving me to see Seattle's skyscrapers and suspension bridges. For my 9th birthday, he built me a drafting table. "You see how things connect, Sophia. That's a gift." On my 10th birthday, he took me to a Waffle House, then the courthouse. "I want to adopt you," he said. "You're my daughter, if you'll have me." Tears fell, hopeful ones. "Yes," I whispered. Months later, I became Sophia Thompson, legally his. We painted my room lavender with a mural I designed of Seattle's skyline. Robert enrolled me in therapy with Dr. Emily, who helped me unpack my abandonment. "Their choices don't define your worth," she said. With Robert's love, I began to believe it. High school brought confidence. Robert fueled my love for design, taking me to architectural wonders like the Olympic Sculpture Park. For my 16th birthday, he gifted professional drafting software. "You'll build spaces that make people feel safe," he said. I met Mia, a bold artist who became my chosen sister. Her chaotic, loving family showed me equal affection. I graduated valedictorian, Robert cheering loudest. With his savings, I attended MIT's architecture program, calling him weekly, returning to paint walls or weed his garden. At 24, I graduated with honors and joined a top Seattle firm, designing eco-friendly community spaces. Robert and I bought a fixer-upper, spending weekends sanding floors, his pride boundless. By 30, I was a lead architect, my sustainable housing projects earning national awards. Architectural Record called me a trailblazer for a community center blending green tech and human connection. Robert kept every clipping, boasting about my architect daughter. But at 84, his health faltered. Tremors, fatigue, memory lapses. "Just old age," he laughed. But I saw the truth. At 33, over our weekly dinner, Robert barely touched his food. his frame frail. "Dad, we need a doctor," I said. He sighed. "Lung cancer, Sophia? Stage 4, diagnosed 4 months ago." My world cracked. "Why hide it?" I cried. "We can fight." He shook his head. "I want quality, not quantity. I've had a full life with you." He asked me to help him die with dignity and live boldly after. I took leave, caring for him, reading novels, watching classic films, reminiscing about our drives to see buildings. He faced death fearlessly, regretting only missing my future designs. "I'll watch from somewhere," he promised. One May morning, sunlight streaming through his rose garden, Robert passed, my hand in his. My grief was raw but grateful, his love my bedrock. At his funeral, I spoke. "Robert Thompson chose me when my blood family didn't. Family is love, not obligation." Mia held my hand, former foster kids and colleagues packing the pews. Weeks later, Robert's lawyer, Susan, revealed his $32 million estate from engineering patents and investments. "It's all yours," she said. News broke. Seattle architect inherits fortune, and my phone buzzed with unknown numbers. I changed it, sensing trouble. 5 months later, my doorbell rang. Through the camera, a man in his late 60s, familiar yet foreign. "Sophia Chen?" he asked via intercom. "It's Richard Lee, your father." My heart froze. The man who'd abandoned me stood there, in a threadbare suit, claiming kinship. "I'm Sophia Thompson," I said, blocking the door. "What do you want?" His smile was rehearsed. "I've searched for you for years. The news about your inheritance helped me find you." I scoffed. 28 years, and you show up now?" He claimed Mom's dying wish was to reconnect, his eyes glistening. Years of therapy sharpened my instincts. He was lying. "I need time," I said, taking his card. "Goodbye, Mr. Lee," he protested. "Call me Dad." I shut the door, the word reserved for Robert. That night, I called Mia. "Is he legit?" she asked. "I'll find out," I said. I hired a private investigator who uncovered Richard's reality. His career collapsed after ethics violations. A gambling addiction led to foreclosure, and he'd made no effort to find me until the inheritance hit the news. My brothers, David and Michael, had cut him off years ago. Nathan, the perfect son, was estranged after college disputes. Richard was broke, his Marriott claim a lie. He lived in a cheap motel. I met him at a public cafe, choosing a corner table. He arrived late, full of excuses. "You've become so successful," he said, smiling. "I always knew you would." "Did you?" I replied. "You gave me up because I was a girl, worthless to you." He faltered. "We were struggling. We wanted better for you." "Better than David, Michael, or Nathan," I pressed. "You celebrated their births, not mine." He shifted, claiming regret. "Your family. Blood matters." I leaned in. Robert Thompson was my father. He loved me unconditionally. "You're here for the money." His mask slipped. "That rich man stole you. You owe me. I gave you life." I stood. "Your rejection led me to Robert. For that I thank you. But you get nothing else." He shouted as I left. "Ungrateful girl! You're nothing without me." His harassment escalated. Midnight calls, anonymous emails, a letter claiming he was dying. The final straw. He ambushed me in my office parking garage. "You can't ignore me," he snarled. "I'm your father." I called security. "Robert Thompson was my father. You're a stranger who made a choice." As they escorted him away, he yelled, "This isn't over!" I was done. I met with Susan, ordering a cease and desist letter and beefed up security. Inspired by Robert, I founded the Robert Thompson Foundation for Foster Futures, channeling $16 million into housing, scholarships, and STEM programs for foster youth, especially girls. At the first project's ribbon cutting, a 35-unit complex for aged-out foster kids, I spoke. Robert chose me when my blood family didn't. Family is who shows up, day after day. The crowd, including Mia and former foster kids, roared. That night, in Robert's old armchair, I held our college graduation photo. "We did it, Dad," I whispered. "We built something beautiful." Months later, Michael emailed, having seen the foundation's news. "I never forgot my little sister," he wrote. We met, his familiar eyes sparking memories of stolen cookies. He tried to find me, but adoption records were sealed. He shared Mom's regret. She'd left Richard, dying alone, haunted by my loss. We rebuilt a cautious bond, a sliver of family reclaimed. Richard's final legal threat, a baseless adoption challenge, fizzled. At a meeting, I offered one thing: addiction counseling. He refused, shouting, "You owe me!" I walked away saying, "I'm Sophia Thompson. I owe you nothing." The foundation thrived, housing hundreds, funding dreams. Richard vanished, reportedly chasing slots in Reno. My scar from his rejection remains, but Robert's love, my resilience, and the lives we're changing turned pain into purpose. Share your story of chosen family below. Like, subscribe, and let's celebrate families built on love, not blood.